Hey, it's James from Marketing for Restaurants here, and welcome to episode 108 of Secret Sauce, the restaurant marketing podcast. A great example of a restaurant marketing campaign.
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Welcome back, everyone. How did you go with our special three-part series on SEO for restaurant websites? Hopefully you got a few insights in there. I've already had some feedback from a couple of people who just thought that it was really moderately overwhelming, all of the kind of work that needs to be done when it comes to creating great restaurant SEO. You know what? I think the big thing is that it's like a lot of things in your restaurant, in your business. It is a work in progress. So it's a public holiday here in Melbourne, and I have been working on some of the SEO on our website, and some of the stuff is like, oh God, there's so much work that needs to be done here. I think we all are in the same boat. There's always more that can be done. You just need to chip away at it one little brick at a time, and knowing full well that those results come back over and over and over again just to bring you in more customers. When we see that, we'll make some tweaks on something that we've got, and then, you think, oh wow, look at that. We got 3 more people inquiring about that product, this week, or 10 people inquiring for that. It is really just an iterative process. You try and make it a little bit better week after week, month after month, and sooner or later, the results are really, really flowing all the way through to the bottom of your P&L. So today I want to tell you a really exciting story. This is about a really great example of a restaurant marketing campaign. Now, not one that we've done. This is something that just randomly came into my inbox. Well, not so randomly, because you can tell that a lot of thought has gone into it. So this is a marketing campaign that was done by the marketing team at Dinner by Heston in Melbourne. And I think that this is, almost the gold standard of how you want to be tracking when you're creating an integrated marketing campaign. There's a couple of things that you could do to tweak this to make it a little bit better. One big thing to remember though, I'm a huge fan of some good marketing done today is much better than the perfect marketing campaign executed 2 weeks after you go into administration. Far too many people won't pull the trigger on a marketing campaign because they're waiting for all of their ducks to line up. That is madness. If you don't do any marketing today, then today is a day that you did nothing to grow your business. And that's really sad. You should be out there. You should be doing some marketing. Doesn't have to be the best marketing in the world. Every now and then, that's what we strive for all the time. But if you're not doing that marketing, there are people out there who are doing marketing. They're targeting your potential customers. They're going to be going to those people. 80% is the new 100%. I think that's a really, really big thing to remember. But this has got almost all of the elements of a perfect marketing campaign. So it was done by the girls in the marketing team at Dinner by Heston in Melbourne, and they did a cracking job. It's from a little while ago, so I'll just run through what it is. I got an email from them, and it talks about a Lamington Cake that they're doing, and it was the restaurant's interpretation of a Lamington Cake for Australia Day. So they're launching it on Australia Day. And as I read through the email, I just thought, you know what? They've really ticked off on a lot of the kind of things that you'd want to be thinking about when you're doing a marketing campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'll include some screenshots in the show notes. So make sure you head on over to the website, check out the show notes. There'll be some information there, and you can just read through it and see how well they've done at creating a really epic marketing campaign. Now, before we get into it, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, Dinner by Heston, they'll have a whole marketing team, they'll have budget. And in some respects, that's true. They're going to have a lot more resources than you would have running a local restaurant, or maybe if you're running a small chain. They may have a few more resources. But the thing is that I think that is beautiful about this is that they have ticked off on all of the boxes in the process. And most of these things, in fact, all of these things are things that you in your restaurant could do to replicate it. Is it going to be easy? No, there's a bit of work to it. but really, really well crafted marketing campaigns. They're not easy to put together. This is not taking some random photo of some dish and popping it up on Insta and hoping that 10 billion people come through your restaurant. There is a process that needs to be followed. These guys have followed this process, and you can really see it because it is an epic marketing campaign. But you follow the process too. This is just exactly like that recipe. We're going to be breaking down the recipe. We're going to be breaking down the secret sauce. And your ingredients are going to be different, your process is going to be a little bit different, but you're still going to be able to bake the same delicious marketing campaign as what the girls at Dinner by Heston did. So, what was the first thing that they did? Well, they sent an email. Amazing. Too many people don't send emails. It is one of the easiest ways that you can re-engage with your customers. Remember, one of the things that we focus on here is finding you new customers and turning them into repeat customers. To get those people to come back, if you have been there and had an epic meal, then your customers are much more likely to open that email. And so what's my relationship with Dinner by Heston? So we did a podcast on it a little while ago. Tina took me there for my birthday and it was an epic meal. Really, really, really epic food. So when I get an email from Dinner by Heston, I am interested in what they have to say because it's a restaurant that I rate really highly. There's a lot of skill in the kitchen and I'm super keen to find out what it is that they're doing. That's why I opened this email. Now, the next thing that's amazing about this is that they've got their own email database. I mean, obviously. There's a couple of problems that I see. So I often sign up for restaurant email databases just because of the fact that I'm interested to see what people are sending out. Sadly, very sadly, I receive so few emails. So that was the first thing they did. They sent an email. The second thing is they went to the effort of collecting the email addresses of people who have eaten in their restaurant in the past. I find it amazing the number of people who don't collect any email addresses whatsoever. That's a big issue. Secondly, we get customers who come to us and say, oh, we want to send an email out. And you go, fantastic, how many emails have you got? And I say, we've got 25. We've just started collecting them. Right. The first thing that you've got to do when it comes to email marketing is you've got to start building that database. There are people out there with email, I don't know how many's in their database. It could be 10,000 people. It's fine dining. It's hard to get people to come back for fine dining a lot of the time. They'll have a few regulars, but much less likely to have regulars than a local restaurant. But when you think about it, if you're not collecting that database, you're never going to be able to get a huge economic return from the marketing that you're doing. If you're a local restaurant or a small chain and you've got, 5,000 or 10,000 email addresses, then you are easily, well and truly capable of sending out emails that are going to generate tens of thousands of dollars of revenue, most of which is going to fall through to the bottom line. So you've got to build that database, and they've done that. Now, the next thing that's really cool about this is that they created their own menu item. That is really cool. So, what they're talking about, Lamington Cake, dinner's interpretation of Australian nostalgia. Introducing the reimagined Lamington Cake from around, so this recipe that they're looking at is from around the 1900s. Multi-layered with raspberry and lemon myrtle, coconut cake with chocolate cream, the dish will feature for the first time on Dinner's Australia Day menu. So, how cool is that? They have gone through and they have created their own menu item. And I think that this is really important. So, the chefs have sat down. Now, they've got lots of chefs in the kitchen and they'll have people who can do this kind of research and development. It's important for you to make sure that, I think, that you've got a little bit of that time away to be a little bit creative, a little bit looking at the menu, costing it out. Make sure you cost it out. Make sure that you make menu items that you can sell for an economically viable price where you're going to make good money on them. But make sure that it's going to link with something that you want to tell your customers. So the next step with this is that they have linked this to an event. It's Australia Day. So a Lamington Cake, if you're not in Australia, Lamingtons are kind of an Aussie thing. Although technically I think that they were invented in New Zealand. I'm not sure on that. I'm sure someone will fact check me on it. But yeah, so Lamington Cake, this means that they can link it to an event, Australia Day. So people who are looking for something to do on Australia Day, they can then come to Dinner by Heston. And you know what? It might be, I'm not sure what their numbers are like. You always need to be thinking about what the numbers are like. I don't know how many people would go out to Dinner by Heston with that. It might be people are having a barbecue. They might be doing something else. It could be an effort to drive people to an event when they might be a little bit quiet. Really smart marketing. And of course, they won't have done this 2 weeks short of Australia Day. I don't know how long was spent in the kitchen coming up with the recipe and the design for the cake, but this could have been 2 or 3 months out. So have a listen to our How to Create an Annual Marketing Plan. There's lots of holidays in all around the world. There's holidays all the time. There's also the international list of days. So we just had International Women's Day. What was your approach to International Women's Day? Were you highlighting the females in your kitchen, in your business? Were you creating, I mean, it's kind of a gimme, what are your mum's favourite recipes? You know, what were the recipes that she would cook for you when you were a kid? Could you do a special menu item around that? Comfort food, pretty easy to do. They will have a calendar that they've got worked out probably, I would have thought at least 6 months in advance, maybe a lot longer, where they're thinking, right, what's the menu item that we want to create for this? What's our marketing strategy around this day? How are we going to capture as many people as we possibly can with it? So you need to be thinking a little bit ahead with this, particularly when you're going to do an event that is tied to a menu item that you're doing. Menu items, though, I think are really important because a new menu item gives people a reason to come back. If it's the same old time and time again, and you don't have a super extensive menu, and you probably shouldn't have an overly super extensive menu because you want to be able to demonstrate what you're clearly really good at and driving customers towards your high value items, but you want to be continually innovating, getting rid of those items that are getting a little bit tired, a little bit unloved by the customers, and driving them towards the new things because that, gives them a reason to come back, something to try. Now, the next thing that I think is really cool about this marketing campaign is that it's on brand for Dinner by Heston. What I mean by that is that there is something about the restaurant. So they've done a really good job of capturing historic recipes and reinterpreting them in a fine dining context. Now, as you sort of go through their menu, you can see all sorts of really interesting recipes there. So obviously they've got probably one of the dishes that they're most famous for, the meat fruit, which is the chicken liver parfait made to look like some fruit. So completely amazing. Visually stunning, one of those sort of signature items that's really exciting and you can sort of hang your hat on when you're trying to do a little bit of marketing. That's one of those things that people just go, wow, this is pretty amazing. For mains, they've got things like cod in cider, a very traditional type of recipe that they have made a lot nicer with their techniques. Black Angus ribeye, David Blackmore Wagyu. So they've taken some really fine dining ingredients and applied some recipes from historic times and applied their techniques to it to come up with some really awesome ideas. Desserts, obviously the Tipsy Cake, which is just absolutely amazing. That's from 1810. Each of these has got a story that's told with it. So that's the sort of the unique selling proposition. It's fine dining with a little bit of history thrown in. There's no one else sort of doing that thing. Heston has done a lot of work in creating that whole, sort of owning that whole genre of restaurant. And so that's what people sort of come along, that's what they sort of expect. And this item, this Lamington item, is completely on brand for them. This is just a part of the story. It's another chapter that you can come and experience when you go to eat at Dinner by Heston. Now, not satisfied with taking a ridiculously good photo of the Lamington Cake and telling you about it and that you should come in and eat it on Australia Day. No, that's not enough for the marketing team at Dinner by Heston. They then go and give you an insight into the Lamington Cake development. Now, some people are really interested in this, particularly when it's a fine dining restaurant, because there's things that are going on in a kitchen, in a fine dining kitchen, that are very difficult to replicate in other contexts, whether it be at home or in someone else's kitchen, someone else's restaurant. Very hard to do. And this is sort of, I think the education of customers around by shows like MasterChef, the kind of work that goes into a fine dining menu item. So they have then got a sketch of how the whole thing is sort of put together. The development sketch of the dish gives insight into its elements. Many of the main elements remain the same as our previous version, like the raspberry gel centre and the white chocolate mousse, whilst new elements like lemon myrtle and coconut and rum gel give it a new aesthetic. So They've used that description to once again make you be a lot more interested in it. And they've told you that, this is an iteration of a previous menu item, that they've sort of changed it up a bit. They've made it a bit special for Australia Day, and this is the launch of the new menu item. That is really cool. Some people, not everyone, but some people are really interested in it. If they're not interested in it, that's fine, because they're just going to either click on the book now or they'll ignore it. But it doesn't do any harm. Those people who are budding foodies are going to be like, wow, this is the new development. We should go in and we should test it out. It's going to be super cool. Now, next thing that they've done that's uber important when it comes to your marketing, there's a call to action. We haven't just said, wow, look at this. This is what we're doing. They've made it easy for people to understand what the next step is. Book now. That link in the email is probably the most important part. When we're onboarding new customers, we'll often go through the previous marketing campaigns that they've done, and you'll see some and they go, wow, this was really cool. We got a lot of interaction with it on Facebook or Insta or something like that, but we didn't actually sell many of it. And it's because often that link to the call to action is really, really hard to do. So Instagram is famous for this. You've only got that one link in the bio that you can click on. Facebook, the number of campaigns that I see that are run with no actual linking back to the website, that makes it really tough. No call to action. They've got a straight book now. Very simple. People who are busy, they can just go, what? That looks awesome. That looks completely awesome. I'm going to sign up for that now. This is something that a lot of people get wrong. And so don't stress about it. Big companies do it as well. In fact, the last time I saw someone make a mess of this was about 2 hours ago. I got an email from Amex saying upcoming sneak preview events that you can sign up for before everyone else. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I open it up and there's a Metallica concert. That'd be pretty cool. And so I click on the link and the pre-open has not opened. So we're pre-open. So no one can buy tickets as far as I can tell. Now, what's the risk with that? Because I would go. I would like to get good seats to that. I think it'd be cool. But the big issue is that now that I can't buy my seats, not going to put it in my calendar because I don't know when I can buy my seats, and are the seats going to be sold out by the time I can buy them? This is all really complicated. And so unless they send me another email, I'm probably not going to end up going to the Metallica concert. I'm probably going to miss out. So you want to make sure that that path to the credit card is as clear as possible. And the guys at Amex, they've come up with a really cool offer. I'm like, yes, that'd be super cool, but I can't buy it. And because I can't buy it, I think, now, if this pops up at some stage, then I'll probably purchase tickets to it. Mate, I've got to find out if Tina wants to go. That could be the big hurdle. Forget the pre-opening. But we've got to get past the pre-opening. I need to find out when I can actually buy the tickets. So I hope that makes sense. You've got to make sure that that path to the credit card, the path to the transaction, or whatever that action is that you want. Not every action's going to end in a credit card. We'd like them to, but it might just be an email address, or it might be give us your idea on this. There's lots of other things that you can do. It doesn't have to be a credit card. These guys ran with a credit card, which is with a booking, which is eminently fine. People would see that and go, yes, this would be good. Now, for bonus marks, they've then gone on and listed another event. So for various reasons, like for us, we weren't even in the country for Australia Day, I think. So we weren't going to attend. But for bonus marks, they've gone on and talked about the next event that they've got coming up, which is a winemaker's table. Perfect event, linking in with some of your suppliers, the people who are providing you with the very fine wines that your customers are going to be consuming. They've gone around and so this is what they've written. Dinner's collaboration with Cellar Hand will present the single vineyard expressions of 10 visionary winemakers visiting from Austria, Germany, Italy, France and England. A 4-course menu will be paired with 13 wines from producers such as Dr. Lucen, G.D. Vadri, Jacques Prieur, Louis Michel, and Mauric, each exemplifying the best of their region's styles and grape varieties. Now, for anyone who likes a little bit of wine, that sounds really interesting. The price is there, 4-course menu with matched verticals, boom. And once again, These guys know what they're doing. There's the book now button. So they have got a next event as well. So if the Lamington Cake isn't enough to get you across the line, well, maybe the wine is. It costs virtually nothing to put that link in. There's an image, once again, of one of the wineries from France, you can tell. So they've gone and got an image. They've put that description in. That's probably 15 minutes worth of work. Who knows how many people this went to? Who knows how many opens there were for it? And who knows how many people clicked through and actually bought something. But that book now button, that could have been a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 click there. It's $360 a guest. If they sold 100 seats, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. And so obviously it depends on how many people have gone there, and obviously it depends on the reputation of the restaurant. That really dictates what your click-through and purchase rate's going to be. Dinner by Heston, an exemplary restaurant with some really strong marketing behind it. So I would have thought they would have made quite a bit of money out of that book, that simple one extra link. Once again, integrated marketing campaign, they have got their calendar starting to fill up with the events that they've got coming in. Interesting. So, all in all, a pretty cool marketing campaign, I think. And it really does highlight a lot of the things that you need to do when you're putting together a marketing campaign. They sent an email, so they're reaching out to their existing customers, the people who've already eaten in their restaurant, and giving them a reason to come back. There's an epic photo in there. They've built their own email database. They've created a new menu item. They've given people a reason to come back. They've linked it to an event. The campaign is a part of their unique branding. It's part of their story. It's not off message in any way, shape or form. They've told the story of the development of the menu item. I think that's really cool. There's a call to action. Really important. That's where the money's made. There's another event in there, so you can see they've got that annual marketing plan in action. So what could they do to improve it? Well, I think there's only a couple of things in there. The email software that they're using, I'm not sure what it is, but the links have expired in that email. Not a massive issue, because both of these events occurred, probably a couple of months ago, so they're expired. But the other links that are in that email, they don't work either. So the link to their Instagram account that just comes up with this link has expired. Not a huge issue, but one thing I would get people to think about is that we all talk about search engine optimization. One of the search engines that people don't really think about is Outlook or Gmail or whatever your mail client is. And I will often be looking for something and find something else because there's an email and it just jogs your memory. I think that there's more work to be done in that space for a lot of people, because I always like having those emails in there. It doesn't matter if they don't get opened. See, one of the things is we send out, I think in our big emails, there's over probably 10,000 emails being sent out to restaurant owners all around the world. I know that we get this massive spike on the day after we send it out. It's huge. And then it gets less and less and less and less and less. But the thing that's amazing is that we'll have a campaign that is 2 or 3 years old and there'll still be a link. Someone will click that. Now obviously we don't get one every day, but the more emails that you've got in people's inboxes, the more chances are people go, oh yeah, I do need to be thinking about better Facebook marketing, or oh yeah, I do need to be thinking about how I can drive more walk-ins to my restaurant. Then they go and then they'll make a call. If you're not sending those emails out, then you're never going to be a part of that story. The other thing that I think that could have really pushed this to an A++ would have been a landing page. So book now, it's a pretty big sort of commitment there. What happens if there's something wrong with that process? So the process is we're going to click book now. I'm then going to select a date. I'm then going to give them my credit card, and then we are good to go for Lamington Cake, and that's going to be super exciting. As I mentioned before, Metallica, I can't even book, so that's a significant issue. That's sad times. And they've lost that opportunity there. What happens if I decide that we should go to Australia and then I think, oh, what are we going to do? Like, has Tina organised for friends to come around, or has she already got plans? Does she want to do this? So I now can't, I've hit a blocker. Now, this is no fault of anyone in the marketing teams. I just need to sort my personal administration out. I've got to sort my day, my plans for Australia Day out. And that's going to take me time. Life happens. I get busy. There's all of the other things that you've got to do in your life, as in your life as well, and I forget about it. If there was a landing page, obviously the two benefits I see is in having a landing page is, firstly, the fact that you can tell that story in much more depth. So email doesn't really support video. We could have a video in there. That's one thing that you could potentially do, just to really, really lay it on thick and heavy. If this is going to be the best Australia Day that you could ever have, this is the best Lamington cake, you've got to try it. It's going to be awesome. So you can redo that sales pitch. You can increase your conversion rate. The other thing is, with the landing page pixeled, you can target everyone who has gone to that page and not gone to your booking page and say, forgotten something? Still looking for plans for Australia Day? Don't forget our Lamington cake. Now, some people think that that's annoying. It's not really that annoying, because I'm thinking, oh yeah, God, I do need to sort that out. That's really important to me. I do want to eat there. Hang on a sec, let me make that phone call to Tina so that I can say, I can get approval for this. That is how retargeting works. It's not being annoying if it's a really cool offer that you have got. And for most people who've clicked that link, they're at least 25%, sometimes 50% of the way through making that purchase. They just need that gentle reminder in case life gets in the way. So you see it all the time. Amazon's really good at doing that retargeting. When you look at one random item and, that'll follow you around forever. It's not an overly complicated thing to do, but you need to have that landing page to be able to do that. You know what, really? I would have thought they are minor things in the grand scheme of things. A lot of work has gone into it. I'd love to know how successful it was. I'm assuming really successful, because when I looked at it, I thought, not only did I think, wow, that Lamington cake looks super yummy, but also I was thinking, this is a really, really well put together marketing campaign. This is something that should be this is pretty much the gold standard as far as marketing campaigns for a restaurant should be. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, we've covered a lot of stuff and it's all super technical and well outside the reach of your restaurant. Bum. No, it's not. Now, I've got a couple more podcast episodes coming up that are queued, so I'm not going to do it next episode, but in a few episodes down the track, we're going to talk about this marketing campaign and how you would replicate that in your restaurant. Because I think that that's the really important part. What we want to be able to do is to take all of these parts of the marketing campaign. We've now got an example. We've now got a template. I mean, this is pretty much the way that a good marketing campaign, one of the ways that you can set up, particularly an email marketing campaign. What does it look like for a small restaurant? What are the kind of things that we're helping restaurants all around the world to be able to do in their own restaurant for their own P&L, for their own customers? That's the exciting thing. That's the important thing. That's going to help you to obviously turn more of your customers into repeat customers and obviously make that difference in the bottom line and help you to run the kind of restaurant that you always wanted. So stay tuned for that. It's probably a few weeks away from when you hear this one. But yeah, super exciting. We're going to lay it out. It's not that complicated, people. Seriously, it's not that complicated. And we're going to go through how you can do it for little or no money, which is even better. Not a lot of money, a little bit of time, some thought, but the rewards will really stack up. That's about it. You have a glorious week and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.